Hello, fellow story explorers. Welcome to Stories with Stan. I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fast, and I can't possibly be beat. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He can't hit what his eyes can't see. Muhammad Ali was known as the greatest champion of all time. He's the greatest to me because he took a stand for things he believed in. Today we're going to read the book Muhammad Ali, Champion of the World, written by my friend Jonah Winter. Come on, friends, let's take a look inside. Muhammad Ali, Champion of the World. No doubt about it, he was the greatest. Sincerely, Jonah Winter. In the beginning was Jack Johnson, and Jack Johnson was the man, the first black king in the kingdom of boxing. But after defeating the Great White Hope, Jack Johnson was hated and booed all over America just for the color of his skin and for acting proud. And so he wandered off to a distant land. And some many years later, in a different age, God said, "Let there be Joe Louis," for the world was now ready for another black champion. And Joe Louis appeared and was called the Brown Bomber, but he was more like a tank. With fists of steel, he slugged his way to the throne of power. And some many years later, there came another mighty king named Sonny Liston, who existed for only one purpose: to knock people out in the very first round. And God said, "Is that all there is to a boxer?" And the heavens opened up, and there appeared a great man descending on a cloud, jump roping into the kingdom of boxing, and he was called Cassius Clay. And Cassius Clay said, "I will be the greatest of all time." Then he talked and jived and practiced and punched his way to victory until he had won the Olympic gold medal. And Clay said, "I'm going to talk and talk and talk, and the world's going to know my name." For he believed in himself, and he believed he would be triumphant. And the world said, "Who is this man who brags about himself? Surely he is full of hot air. Surely he could keep his big mouth shut." But Cassius Clay did not keep his big mouth shut. He said he could beat the great Sonny Liston, heavyweight champion of the world. He said, "Sonny Liston's just a big, ugly bear, and he brought him a big bear collar." He said, "They say Sonny Liston is great, but he must fall to me in 8. And the world said, "You're out of your mind. Liston will knock you out of the ring." And Cassius Clay said, "Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. You can't hit what you can't see." And sure enough, on the night of the big fight, Liston was swinging in the air as Cassius Clay danced this way and that, talking and talking, teasing, luring Liston to wear himself out, and then, pow, letting loose with a flurry of punches that shocked the world into silence. When the bell rang at the end of round 6, Liston just sat in his corner, and he would not get up. And Cassius Clay said, "I am king of the world. I am the greatest." And there before the masses stood a great shining man, clad in white silk. With a voice as beautiful as rivers, Cassius Clay announced that he was changing his name. Clay had been the name of the white slave master who had owned his African ancestors. From this moment on, he would no longer use a white man's name. With flashbulbs flashing, Cassius Clay announced his brand new name, Muhammad Ali. The name came from his new religion, Islam. Islam was from Africa, the homeland of his ancestors, before they were brought to America in slave boats. And all across the land, there were others just as proud of their African roots and their Islamic faith. They were called the Nation of Islam, and they were part of a great wave of people who would not be silenced anymore. And Muhammad Ali became their prophet. And while other boxers were pummeling each other left and right, growling, spitting, slugging, grunting, splattering blood into the kingdom of boxing, Muhammad Ali was dancing in the ring, talking and talking and talking and talking. He recited poems about how great he was. He spoke out against racism. And this made some people mad, and very mad. Boxers were supposed to be big, dumb brutes. African Americans were supposed to know their place and keep their mouths shut. But Muhammad Ali was a new kind of boxer and a new kind of person. And he was creating a new way for African Americans to be proud, strong, and willing to fight. Then one day it came to pass that the American army told him he must fight in a war. Muhammad Ali said, no. Boxing was one thing, but killing people was wrong. And so, the greatest boxer who ever lived was hauled into a courtroom where he was banished from the kingdom of boxing and stripped of his title, heavyweight champion of the world. And the judge said, you are not allowed to box for 5 whole years. It's jail time for you. And the world said, you're all through. You're finished. You'll never make a comeback. And for 3 years, Ali went to different courtrooms fighting for his right to box, fighting for his freedom, and finally winning this battle like the champion he was. And in a flash, the prophet reappeared, jump roping back into the kingdom of boxing. And he said, I am the greatest. And he boxed, and he danced, and he talked his way back, all the way to the greatest fight ever in the kingdom of boxing, the Rumble in the Jungle, live from the homeland of his ancestors, Africa. To be crowned king in Africa was Ali's dream. He would be the bridge that joined Africans and African Americans. But first, he had to beat the mighty George Foreman, who was younger, stronger, and meaner than Ali. And the world said, Muhammad Ali does not stand a chance. And Ali answered with a brand new poem. I've wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning and thrown thunder in jail. But when the bell rang and the fight began, the great Ali lay crumpled on the ropes as George Foreman pummeled him. No one knew that this was just a trick by the sly Ali, called rope-a-dope. By round 8, the mighty George Foreman had punched and punched and punched away all his strength. Then God said, it is time. And in a flash of lightning, Ali woke up from his trick and sprang from the ropes. With thousands of Africans chanting his name, Ali knocked George Foreman to the mat. And just like that, Muhammad Ali, once again, champion of the world. And though he could barely stand, he lifted his arms above his head and said, I am the greatest. And his people held him high in their arms and rejoiced, for his victory was more than just a boxing victory. It was a triumph of imagination. He believed he was the greatest, and he believed in the greatness of his people. And there in the center of Africa, they crowned him king. The end. I hope you enjoyed Muhammad Ali, champion of the world. Always remember to be kind and never judge a book or a person by their cover. See you next time, friends.